Now, yesterday we reported on the widespread revulsion expressed online here in China over the death of a 2-month-old baby who disappeared when the car he was left in unattended was stolen on Monday. The baby's parents said they left the child in their SUV with the engine running while they went into their small store in the city of Changchun on Monday. The father, whose surname was given as Shu, explained the store had no heating, so they left the baby asleep in the warm car while they went to light a stove. Police launched a massive search operation which attracted thousands of volunteers and that continued on for 36 hours. First, the car was found abandoned about 25 miles away. Then a suspect named as Zhou Xijun turned himself into police. A brief statement on the police microblog account said the 48-year-old admitted to stealing the car but said he didn't notice the baby until it started crying. Zhou said he choked the baby to death and buried its body under snow at the roadside. Police gave no clues as to Zhou's motive for killing the child. The whole sad affair has been recounted and followed by millions through China's hugely popular microblogging service Weibo. Well, to hear more of what's being said online, let's check in now with our researcher, Julia Liu. Okay, Julia, a tragic story, sure enough, and an apparently senseless murder of a helpless infant. We saw some of the infuriated responses from Chinese net users who'd been posting these messages of encouragement and hope that the infant would actually turn up safe right up to the moment the death was announced. Is that still what you're seeing there online?
Yes, exactly. Well, that microblogging post from the local police announcing the child was dead came at about 8 p.m. yesterday. And as you say, right up until then, hundreds of thousands of people were still posting appeals, updating their own search results and praying the baby would be okay. So this really was devastating news. And many net users and members of the public admitted crying when they heard what had happened. And just to give you an idea of the scale of interest, that police post was retweeted more than 500,000 times within just a few hours of being posted. And some well-known celebrities were amongst the millions decrying the pointless killing. The actress Yao Chen, who has more than 40 million followers, wrote, "Rest in peace, son. At least there are no bad guys in heaven. This is really evil society." Well, another actor, Sun Haiying, posted, "Well, this case shows the world just how evil some Chinese people are. How shameful." And there have also been plenty of comments on mainstream media about the incident. This is from the People's Daily newspaper website. "It's just so sad that you never got the chance to grow up. Many people cared about you over the past 36 hours, but sadly, that care was still not enough to protect you. Rest in peace, dear child. The man who hurt you will get the punishment he deserves, and will try harder to make this world you never really knew a better place."
But will they? Well, Julia, now that post mentioned the huge response from the public as all of this tragedy played out. Thousands of volunteers mobilizing around the city of Changchun to take part in that search. And of course, online there was constant updating and passing on of useful information. Tell us what net users have to say about all this cooperation.
Sure. Well, as you said, since the news broke, the story was widely discussed on both social networking and blogging sites. Well, online, tens of millions of retweets from internet users were made, consisting of prayers for the baby and pleading with the captor to surrender, or at least set him free. Meanwhile, virtually all the police and detectives in Changchun City were involved in that citywide search for the baby and the car that went on all night. And then we had thousands of volunteer citizens who went out to help in search physically, looking for the traces of the car or clues to what had happened. In fact, there were reports of people bringing pregnant women along on the search in case the baby was found and needed milk. And others check up on the identity of drivers of cars similar to the one that went missing. Well, this all-around effort sparked this comment from Yang Yu, a commentator on state television CCTV. "Extreme crimes occur in every country, so it's a bit hasty to attribute this horrible case to the nature of people here in China. Well, the vast majority of people were represented by those who went out and helped search the whole city for the kid. Isn't that so?" And on the other hand, there were some concerns that the huge search campaign and publicity might have played a part in the suspect deciding to kill the child. And on this point, Zhang Xiang says on iPhone.com. "The place the baby was killed was just an hour drive from where the car was stolen. By that time, the search campaign hadn't even started yet, so this worry is groundless." Well, this poster says on the same website, The function of the media and the public should be acknowledged. It's wrong to target the public rather than the suspect for criticism. And the love and care displayed in this campaign should encourage us in our despair.
But isn't it the case that there has been some controversy over the media reporting of this whole affair, although it's not necessarily the media at fault in this case?
Well, that's certainly true. A report in the South China Morning Post suggests that some officials were more worried about the public image of the authorities than the death of this child. And the paper reprints a directive sent to media by the provincial authorities telling them how to report the story. Well, this was posted online, although deleted sometime later. But in the meantime, it was forwarded thousands of times. Some of it says, first, the story shouldn't be bigger than half a page on newspapers. TV channels shall not run featured long reports. And second, reports should criticize the killer and highlight the positive efforts made by the police. And third, no questioning or finger pointing of the police is allowed, and don't criticize the city's surveillance system. And as you can imagine, this cover my ass tone of this instruction has many net users fuming with anger. Wu Zeguang says, this is the directive that went viral last night, and just as expected, all information about this has now disappeared completely, just like the snow that covered the body. Well, it's not just snow that covers this crime, so I'd like to repost this for those who don't know about it yet. Well, actually, the most common comment below this post is very simple. Well, their lack of shame is outrageous.
Sure, understandably. Okay, finally, Julia, nobody knows what was in the killer's mind at the time, but can you give us some idea of Chinese net users' thoughts on just why the thief would carry out this seemingly pointless killing?
Well, this is also one of the most frequent questions I've seen from net users. And to be honest, most are at a loss and simply express their dismay. But some people put it down to the personal situation of the killer. Li Meijin, a professor of criminology, has this to say. I think the decision to kill the kid had much to do with his upbringing and family education as well. I presume he didn't have a normal family and possibly doesn't have a child. Otherwise, how could he be so cruel to hurt such a little baby? But many others feel modern society is also to blame. Shina Shine says on Weibo.com. It was just like putting out a light for him to kill the baby when he found it annoying. Well, this isn't hostility towards a certain person, but callousness towards all lives, which is even more horrible. And isn't this reflected on much of what happened in China today? Poisonous milk powder, collapsing bridges, removal of graves. Life is worth no more than dust to many people. And finally, a poster called Summer Wao Benren has this to say on Weibo.com. It's not uncommon to hear of people in rural areas killing newborn babies because it's a girl. It's not some sudden new phenomenon that our whole society seems to lack. But looking at it in another way, the case has drawn much more criticism now than decades ago. So I guess there's a slight improvement.
Well, some improvement. Okay, thanks for that, Julia. And that was China Take researcher Julia Liu with some of the outraged reaction from China's online community to that killing of a 2-month-old baby by a car thief in the northeast of the country earlier this week. Next here on China Take, some of the top trending phrases on China's most popular search engines.